Hey gang, it's the Bortone back with the video bunch. I'm here with my longtime friend, Tanya Smith. Hi, Tanya.
Hi.
So you're one of the very few people that I keep having coming back to this because you're the boss. You're the stream like a boss. And um, in many ways, what I think is awesome is we met, years ago in Dallas. I think it was at a Milana Lashinsky event.
Yep,
But what
that's right.
I what I've really enjoyed is seeing you kind of move up the ranks. And honestly, I would say the student has become the teacher. You are my go-to person for all things live video, and not just live video, but all kinds of stuff. So thank you. I'm proud of you.
That makes my heart just sing, Lou.
Oh,
I still
thanks.
remember when we met because we were introverted
Yeah, the
attendees.
newbie introverts, like, oh my God, I don't know who to talk to.
Yeah. And we hit it off right away and I just have appreciated your connection ever since.
Oh,
You're
thank
like my brother.
Oh, thanks. Well, I feel the same. And tell folks a little bit about your journey and how you got into this video and live video in particular.
Yeah. It's been a long journey. I have been in business for myself for many years now, for over a decade, but yeah, which is crazy because I can't believe how much time has passed and how many things have happened in that time.
Yeah.
But I started out actually I was coaching people on career
Hmm.
escalation, like how can you get promoted in your job?
Yeah.
And I kept having people, entrepreneurs, reaching out saying, how are you using this tech to do these telesummits and to deliver these classes and all this
Yeah.
stuff? And it was all audio based because I did not have any intention of doing video or putting myself on camera.
Would you call yourself camera shy at first?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
I was camera averse.
Hmm.
I just thought if there's any way I can put slides up or do something different, and you know how you have the ice cream, you
Hmm.
know, analogy for doing video and you can do everything but put your face on camera.
Right.
That that was me.
Yeah.
And at some point, I realized that the reach that I was getting through social media was dying, like
Mhm.
dramatically decreasing, and I could not get attention through my Facebook or anything else. And I ended up deciding, you know what, I either need to do something really, transformational with this thing, or
Yeah.
I need to just stop the business altogether and just put everything into my full time job, which I've been doing anyway.
Yeah.
So I ended up trying live streaming. I tried video. I'm going to say video. I decided I was going to do video
Yeah.
for two reasons. One, because I was desperate and I was like, I'm going to make a decision right now that I'm going to try this. And if it doesn't work in a year,
Yeah.
because I knew I needed to commit for amount of time to see the results. If
Hmm.
this doesn't work for a year, if I do a live stream every week and nothing happens or it's really minimal impact, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do this anymore. And the second reason was because live streaming was cheaper than doing produced videos. Because as I started talking to people about production and editing,
Yeah. Oh my
first
God.
of all, I knew I didn't have the time to do it.
Mhm.
And Lou,
Yeah.
it it takes a learning curve. I didn't
It does.
want to put in that time and attention. I didn't have the time and attention to put into that, nor did I have thousands of dollars to pay someone to do it every month. I just
Right.
wasn't in that position. So live streaming I could do on the cheap. I could do
Yeah.
it from my phone. I could do it from, the stuff I already had. I could simply press go live
Hmm.
and deliver the message. So that's how I ended up getting into this space. And after that year, the
Hmm.
transformation was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the thing that I want to, highlight about what you said is the consistency because you committed to a year, you stuck with it. Because a
Yep,
lot of folks will start and give up, like, oh, I only had two people show up, right? Nobody show up, but you
that's
got to
right.
stick with it, right?
Because for the first couple months at least, it was very sporadic. I
Hmm.
might have somebody show up and then just kind of leave, or I would have nobody and it would be just total cricket. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was the discipline, and that's I've just learned that discipline is really kind of at the heart of everything we do as business owners. And I knew if I didn't stay committed to doing something with this regularly, it
Yeah,
was not going to get me the results. And I'd be making excuses and just leaving because I don't want to put the work in.
right.
I knew I wanted the business to work. I knew I wanted to continue to be a coach and to work with business owners.
Hmm.
I just had to figure out a way to be visible and to get noticed. So
Right.
that's how Get Noticed with Video was born.
There you go. Yeah, and so sometimes I talk about live video as sort of low hanging fruit because from a technology standpoint, you don't have to do the editing necessarily. It is a little bit
Yeah,
easier. Is that one of the reasons why you kind of delved into it? You just knew that, like you said, you can turn on your phone and you're good to go.
that's right. It was an easier learning curve,
Hmm.
kinda. I
Yeah,
don't know about the learning curve. It was easier for me to jump in and actually take some action
yeah,
versus figuring out B-roll
mhm,
and music and, where should video clips go.
yeah,
But some of that I started incorporating into my live streaming over time. It's just it was easier for me to jump in and start to do something. And I was really committed to taking an action,
hmm,
and I wanted to get momentum. And the social platforms were saying, we're boosting you in the feed if you're doing live
right,
because you're keeping people on our site longer, which is what
right.
we like.
Yes, yes.
So,
Yep. And, even though it's, sometimes I call it low hanging fruit, that doesn't mean, you can just do whatever you want. I mean, your stuff is really professional, really well branded. I know you've, kind of built it up over the years. What would you say was the best tool that you found for being able to just kind of go live? Because I know yeah, you can go live from your
yeah,
iPhone, but there are better ways to do it.
absolutely. I started with StreamYard,
Hmm.
and I still recommend StreamYard to people
Yep.
who are looking for simplicity, um, because it's a very easy layout. Like you
Right.
can't get overwhelmed and confused going into their dashboard, and
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of options for you to be able to stream to multiple spaces. So Facebook, LinkedIn, if you're approved, all of that, right?
Hmm.
But today I use Restream and I use Ecamm Live.
Hmm.
So if I were to give a piece of advice or suggestion, I would suggest finding a streaming platform that works for you
Yep.
budget wise, because there's typically a subscription fee involved unless you can find a lifetime deal, which all of them have
Yeah.
had lifetime deals at some
Mhm.
point. But if you can find something that fits within your budget, something that fits within your learning style,
Yeah.
and then something that you're going to spend the time getting to learn because you need to understand what the dashboard looks like, where everything is, how to navigate when you're on live because there's a lot going on
Yeah.
when you're trying to chat with people.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. But the nice thing is you can do it alone. And once you get used to that platform, whether it's StreamYard or whatever, you're kind of like, okay, now I pull in this graphic. And, I like doing that
Yeah.
stuff on the fly. But yeah, committing to one platform and then deciding this is the one I'm going to use. And if you're
Yeah.
using Ecamm, then you must be on a Mac, right? Because Ecamm is
Yeah.
Mac
Look, this
centric.
is funny, Lou, because I did not have a Mac. I'm a PC girl at heart. Like I've always had PC.
Yeah.
But last year, I decided because I kept seeing all of these people who were really stellar um, video marketers
Yeah.
using Ecamm and using it in really creative ways. I
Yeah.
thought, I need to see what this is about. So I literally went out and got a Mac
Hmm.
just for purposes of trying Ecamm Live, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it gives you a bunch of different options. It gave me more versatility, I
Hmm.
think, than just doing the PC specifically because of that tool.
Right.
And now that that tool has added more features where you're able to do things like you can record or do multi streaming from right inside of the platform.
Yeah.
Um, you can change up your look, you can have different frames and layouts. There's so much that I can do with that, but I don't recommend it to everyone because there is, again, this kind of learning curve. And depending
Right.
on how technically sound and savvy you feel you are, you may not want to spend that time learning how to use it. So,
Yeah, I always say start where you're at, and then as you get more confidence and more viewers, you can build up and
That's right.
all that fun stuff. Johnny Byrne, who's another person who's on the video bunch, he's like the studio geek, and he's got like a stream deck with 18 things on it, teleprompter. And I'm like, Johnny, I can't. My head hurts. I
My
can't.
head. I know.
But
I know.
he tells
The
me how to
only
set
reason
it
why
up.
I have a Rodecaster Pro now, Lou, but it's not
Mhm.
because I asked for it. My husband bought it
Oh,
for me
nice,
for Christmas and was
cool.
like, "You should be using this."
Yeah,
And I
see, and
thought,
it sounds great, it looks great, everything's really professional, so, you don't have to start way up there, but you can definitely build your way up to that.
yeah,
Um, I also wanted to ask you in terms of, like, what we're seeing in terms of trends with live video in general. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
there's probably gonna be more and more of it, but are you seeing anything in terms of less on Facebook, more on LinkedIn, anything like that?
I think that LinkedIn is starting to come around with adding, and we'll see slowly but surely adding
Mhm.
more capabilities with live streaming,
Yeah,
because for a long time, for instance, things were limited in terms of being able to see like the chat and the comments
yeah, it's really hard.
inside of third party platforms, right?
Mhm.
So I see that there are a number of different streaming platforms that are cropping up too.
Right.
That's something like everywhere, every other day, I'm seeing something new and somebody sending me an email saying, "Hey, you should try our
Yeah.
platform."
Yeah.
So I think that there are spaces seeing opportunities for income generation, to be honest. But the ones that are tried and proven,
Mhm.
like Restream, like StreamYard, like Ecamm,
Yeah.
those are the ones I would suggest to stick with.
Mhm.
The other thing from a trending standpoint I'm seeing, and I bet you're seeing this too,
Mhm.
is that short clips, the
Yeah.
short form video content is doing very well from an awareness standpoint.
Yeah.
So if you're having a problem getting people to your spaces to even see your live,
Mhm.
figuring out how to integrate a strategy where you have the short videos
Yeah.
that are leading people to your other content is going to be key. And then the live stream itself helps with the bonding
Yeah.
process. It helps with the nurturing of people who already know who you are.
Mhm. So short form, using it to basically tease or promote your longer live pieces.
Well, by giving people a sample of
Yeah.
who you
Okay.
are and what you can deliver,
Right.
so you create the short videos with the anticipation that they may never go to another thing
Mhm.
that you have,
Yeah.
but you're giving them so much value in 30 to 60 seconds that of course they're like, "Hey, I need to go check out what else this person has."
Yeah. That is wicked smart, as we say in Boston. So, two more quick questions for you. One is there a sweet spot, or do you find a good length for your lives?
Yeah, that's the question of the day because, I started out with just 20 minutes, that was my goal,
Yeah.
and I still think somewhere around 30 minutes is probably the sweet spot, but I'm also seeing because I'm more tenured in that space now
Yeah.
that I have this community of repeating viewers that keep coming back and they love the banter and the engagement and the conversation in the chat.
Yeah.
And so now I'm starting to run longer to about 45 minutes,
Yeah.
which is not bad because that means my live stream serves as my long form content while
Mhm.
I can still do the shorts and the medium size 10-minute or so content.
Yeah.
Um, so just kind of thinking through for me the strategy of what is the intent of the live stream itself and how does it come into play with the other,
Mhm.
you know, lengths of video that I'm creating.
Yeah, and that's a good combo to have, the short and the long form. All right, actually,
Yeah.
I lied. Two more questions now because I wanted to ask you, when you go live, do you go to several platforms at once, and do you recommend doing that?
I do because of, what we do. We're in
Right.
the video space. And so
Mhm.
I do because I am at a point now where I feel like I can do that without it harming me in some way.
Yeah.
For people who are just starting out, I think it's a good idea to pick one or two platforms that you want to build and get your process down for how you want to actually do and perform your lives.
Mhm.
And then once you have that process, you can start building in other spaces. Once you see some signs of success, you can build in other spaces. But I don't always recommend to people, hey, go live to 5 places at once.
Yeah.
And the other thing about kind of narrowing down and making sure you're clear on where you want to go
Mhm.
is that there is also a level of consumption on your video, your computer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So when you're multi-streaming to too many places at once, it can reduce the quality of
right.
your video on the other end. And I've discovered that because I've had some glitches happen in the last 3 months or so.
Yeah.
In the fewer places now that I go live, it's easier to have better quality.
Mhm. And it's probably less stressful in terms of keeping track of the interaction in the chat. Is this coming from LinkedIn? Did somebody just post, say something on Facebook? So,
Right.
yeah. So that can be interesting. Anything in terms of, I've seen just in the last week, like zillion emails about Chat GPT. Do you think that there's any connection? And I know you've talked about it too, but how might you use AI in terms of live video, or could you even integrate it somehow?
Oh, yeah. Like, you can integrate it into everything you do. I am a little nervous about that at this point, that people are relying too much on it
Yeah.
so quickly.
Hmm.
Um, I will say the way that I'm using it, and I'm being very careful, but when I use it, it's more about idea generation.
Hmm.
It's less about this is gonna be my complete product.
Right, right. Yeah.
So I have tried to encourage people as I'm talking to them about Chat GPT and other AI tools, because literally I'm seeing the AI stuff pop up in everything.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
popping up in slide deck creation, it's in video script creation, it's in developing titles for your videos, which is good because it's a time saver,
Right.
but it should be an idea starter. And then we still need to put our own personality and expertise into the copy.
Yeah,
And
because it's not like
sometimes I'm not seeing that.
yeah, it's not gonna have your voice and your brand and your
Right.
personality. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like if somebody's like, "Oh, look, I wrote a book on ChatGPT." I'm like, "Well, then you didn't really write a book. You just
Yeah, you
wrote
just
that." Yeah.
the chat bot wrote the
Yeah,
book, and so can you even speak to what it talked about? Did you read it?
yeah,
Or you just
really.
copied and pasted? Yeah.
So tell folks where they can find you, what kind of stuff you still do with them. I know, you're focusing on Stream Like a Boss and all that kind of good stuff. So let us know where folks can track you down.
Yeah, my main website is getnoticedwithvideo.com, and that is my umbrella site. So that's all things, anything to do with video. But
Yep.
Stream Like a Boss is going to be the focus for me for this coming year, because it is about helping specifically service providers like coaches and consultants to really leverage live streaming as the center of their marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm delivering will be things like a 7-day challenge that we call the Let's Go Live challenge for people who are
Cool.
early in that journey.
Yep.
I also offer coaching and consulting services for people who are trying to go a little deeper. I have a 90-day program where I'm working with my clients to help them to really kind of build their live stream strategy into the rest of their business goals and
Right.
strategy, their marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I'm doing my weekly show is being produced now and put into Roku TV, and it's going to be
Oh,
on Amazon and on
wow.
podcast. So yeah, I'm going all out. I have merchandise. Look, Lou,
Cool.
I'm doing
All
it
right.
big.
Excellent. Well, we're going to send people your way because you are the go-to person for all things live video, and you're doing an
Thank
awesome
you.
job with it, and really impressed. And people should follow you, watch your show, get all your help, because it's the same thing. I mean, I beg some of my clients. I'm like, just try going live, just give it a shot, But a lot of folks
Yeah,
are afraid to dip their toes in the water.
it's true. It's true. Yeah, the
So
streamlikeaboss.tv is where people can find out where I'm going live and all about my programs. And if I can be of help, and definitely I'm going to continue to partner with you on ways that we can make sure we get the word out, because you're
yeah,
right. People
yeah.
need to at least put a toe in the water.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks. It's always great to speak with you, and I appreciate your time. And we'll see you online.
All right. Thank you.